Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 Huk Central presented by Southern Wesleyan University. We're here for round number one, the front nine over at the Freight course. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, giving you the action and the play-by-play here. We'll provide a little insight and likely give you a terrible joke or two from time to time. But first, we've got drone preview action here at the Freight. This is hole number one. Very straightforward hole, 290 feet. If you go a little bit deep, you can find yourself out of bounds. And of course, there's a tree line on that right side. Five-time world champ Paul McBeth with his first shot of the tournament. Just about to circle's edge. Second up is Ryan Kenney. Ryan's sponsored by Discraft. Comes into the event with a 995 rating out of Concord, North Carolina. More like Park City. God, I'm starting already. I'm sorry. I see Ryan's got 11 pro wins, all at C-tier events. And now that's William Hannu. He's got a 986 rating. Comes in from Taylor, South Carolina. And this is Alex Durham, rated 977. And he's the hometown boy right here in Central South Carolina. Both William and Alex both have one C-tier win to their credit, both coming in 2020. Williams got some work to do off to this right-hand side. That looks like about the best he can do from there. Here's McBeth to open the tournament. And he capitalizes high left chain, but in. William a little bit short there. He's going to be opening up the event with a bogey. Of course, all of these guys have been playing for a few years, but you got to wonder. A couple cameras there. My buddies Dustin and Dylan. And then playing with the five-time world champ, Alex. Appears to hide any nerves he may or may not have had. And Ryan also with a birdie. So pretty good start. Kind of what you would expect here. Seeing a couple birdies get picked up. This did average 2.54. Quite a few people picking up birdies. Now we head over to hole number two. Playing up that fairway, you got to make that initial gap. We see a road there that you got to get over. And then this is what you find on the green. Just a slight bend from left to right. You see the gap straight in front of Paul. You want to hit that and then have it end at about the 2 o'clock position. And that is a very fortunate stop. If that would have carried off to the right, it would have made things much more difficult. I feel like this is one of the more challenging par threes that you're going to find. It did average over par on the day. And again, you have to get through that initial gap. William just a bit short. And if you're pinched up on this right side, it just feels like there's, it's a tough angle, and, well, he made it work from there on his second attempt at it, but it's just a really tough angle, plus there's plenty of trees and shrubbery in your way. And I think right now Ryan would agree with me. He's just pitching out. Paul's going to change it up. A little forehand flick instead of the backhand. Okay, I guess you could draw metal from back there. Take another look at that from the other side. Wow. And then it does sit down for him right next to the pin. McBeth, though, looking at a par. Ryan right at next to the pin. So pretty straightforward. Like I said, if you're not clear, at least of the road or beyond, you're likely not looking at getting a birdie. And anytime you get a 2 here, I think you've thrown a pretty special shot or 2 in order to make it happen. Walking away with a 3 isn't bad. In fact, just 5 birdies were had on hole number 2 during this opening round. 5 birdies in the MPO division. All right, now move over to hole number 3, par 3 again, 270 feet playing down. This is where you take the bend to the right, and then it slides up. So it kind of plays downhill, and then there's a little bit of an incline as it gets back toward the basket. And McBeth barely gets past the tree he was talking about. That might have been the one McBeth was referencing. And that is parked for Ryan Kenney. Nice forceful flick there by Alex, but again, one of the trees you need to beat to get around the corner there. This hole ended up averaging 0.43 below par, so 2.57, certainly on the easier side overall. McBeth just inside the circle, looking to pick up his second birdie of the round. Paul denied as much. This PDGA A tier will take place 4 rounds over 2 days. That one's Not on the mark for Alex, but it'll take two rounds here on Saturday. Right now it's Saturday morning, about 10 o'clock. There'll be a round Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday they will play the locomotive course, which has a number of different pins and tees and a few different holes, and they'll play 2 rounds. So it'll be 72 holes over 2 days before we crown our champions. And Ryan just waiting patiently. Everybody throwing. William in for the par, and McBeth will settle for the par as well. So not taking advantage of a relatively easy hole. Big shout out, Ish over at Down South Discs, huge supporter and sponsor of the event, along with some of the others that you've been seeing in our transitions. This hole plays 440 feet down and to the right. And it just gives you a chance to throw a really big, powerful turnover. And you want it just to be fading the entire way. You really don't want it to push back and hyzer back out. If it does, not too much. And that looks like it has a little too much angle on it, coming in a little bit early and getting caught up. You really just want it to turn over if you're throwing a righty backhand and just continue on that turnover line the whole way. And that looks a little bit tight for McBeth as well. Well, that's turning over with the forehand and finding the crowd. And unfortunately, way down on that left side, there's an out-of-bounds line. So William will take it from down there, but with penalty. We'll see if Alex can use that powerful forehand we saw in the previous hole. Really putting himself into it, and that hit off the line, and also it looked like it hit off the power line and then goes out of bounds on that left side. So not a mistake you'd really think you'd see on this hole. And Ryan just needs to be able to punch out, and he seems to have a lane. Now, OB is deep of the pin, approximately maybe 15 feet past where Ryan just had gone. So you can't just go at this as hard as you want. You have to have a little bit of finesse. And that'll work just fine for McBeth. Fortunately, that kind of stalled out on him. I thought it was going to have the right line, but stalls out. So he still has some work to do to save the bogey. You see the white stakes with the red tops there. That basket will get used during Sunday's round in configuration. The basket that we just saw there a moment ago. And maybe no surprise as I'm taking a look at the stats, this comes in as one of the most difficult holes on the course, as that just grabs a little bit of metal. In fact, the single most difficult hole on the course relative to par. It averaged 0.33 above par. I'm going to give a shout out. Ben Wolf, literally the only pro player to get a birdie on it during the first round. So nice work out there, Ben. Playing the most difficult hole under par. So Alex will take the double. McBeth will tap in for his par. William also with a double. So now you guys are seeing maybe why that hole is averaging so much above par. And if you want to be above or below par, I guess above par in a good way, you want to ship a disc or two the best possible way, reach out. My Disc in a Box, your shipping solutions. This is just really a righty backhander's dream. Throw it with a low, little bit of hyzer. Play for the skip. Or if you come in high with it, maybe you're throwing a mid. But you have to just hit that initial gap. I feel like the hole and gravity will do the work from there. Here's McBeth throwing a mid-range. I think that's a buzz. And gets a little love that kicks it toward the pin, but it was, I think, going to be a decent shot anyway. I love the angle. Just had to come in before that. Near perfect. Alex. All right, there it is. Alex with a perfect drive. Right next to the pin. I'm not sure if it's better to be a little bit right where you see William here. If it's easier to fight through that right side. I feel like I saw more people on the right side rather than on the high left side. Either way, they got some work to do. There's a solid putt. And also got to give a big shout out. I've been told the town of Central, where you guys are seeing the action take place, big supporters and sponsors of the event. As McBeth picks up another birdie. MetroCon, working with them to do a bunch of the concrete work out there. Elkmont, and then, of course, Down South Disc, as we mentioned earlier. And then there's, of course, your presenting sponsor in Southern Wesleyan University. So we're through 5. McBeth at 2 under. Ryan at 1 under. The other guys struggling a little bit over par. And even with the birdie, we're going to see Alex still at +2. They take a brief walk up the hill. And we arrive on hole number 6. And that's actually what we just saw from the short tee. There's a longer tee that's behind there. And this has a couple different configurations. And we'll see it played a few different ways both Saturday and Sunday. But actually, they're playing from the longer tee. There's no mandatories, but there is out of bounds down and on the left-hand side of the fairway. So that pushed a little bit of that left side of the fairway, but still staying in bounds. And really the play in this configuration is just the big wide hyzer. If you're left-handed, you can go with the lefty hyzer. And if you're right-handed, obviously, you go with the right side hyzer. That's really the play. In Sunday's configuration, it's a mandatory to actually go through the power line stanchions there. Stanchion the word? We'll say it is. The legs. But they don't have to worry about that today. So out in the open, plenty of space to work with.
There you go.
The basket they're playing to is pretty much right in the center of that next power line frame. No mandatories, nothing to worry about in that sense, but the basket is right in the center as you see it right there. And after 2 throws, that's likely going to be a layup from there. Ryan will be looking at a par at best. That's pushing up on that right-hand side. Maybe if it gets a little bit of a rollback, it'd be great if that rolled down closer down to the pin. But from there, he's just really kind of in a forced layup zone. That was a great drive and a pretty good second shot inside the circle. Looking at a great birdie bid. You see not much action on that wind or on that flag. Not much wind action on it. And you saw McBeth short of the OB by at most 10 or 12 feet. That's a putter right up next to the pin. He's trying to pick up his 3rd birdie in 6 holes. And this can be a little bit sneaky. This definitely slopes down. And so I feel like you want to come up just short of the pin, let it scoot up just a couple feet. The hillside can be brutal here. A little bit of the angle that's there. That is just off the mark for Alex. And McBeth is in for the birdie. Hole 6, averaging 4.09 when it was all said and done for the first round. So nothing too crazy. And they take a brief walk over to hole number 7. Big shout out Midi Disc Golf out of the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area. My stomping grounds whenever I actually am home. But hole 7 plays downhill 500 feet. It seems like, it is a very reachable 500 feet. And of course that is due to the decline. And Paul has pulled that way off to the right. And difficult for the cameramen to find, but that one was way off on that right-hand side. We'll see just how much it hyzered back to the pin. Now, there is a ditch that is out of bounds. You can see kind of the white flags there in front of you. And Alex easily clears it, but if you find yourself in that ditch, that's considered out of bounds. Needs that to turn over, and it's pushing off to the left side. And in fact, yeah, that finds the ditch. So that's going to be out of bounds. Also, big shout out, Brian Shop and Todd Lyon, your TD and assistant TDs. Ooh, I like this line. Does it have the legs? Oh, and it does. Great shot there by William. Difficult here to make up the stroke only because you have to come in at this from a specific angle. And that's a good looking shot. He's not going to be able to save the par, so to speak, but that tree is just perfectly placed to get in your way of great drives and or putts as you're coming into the 10-meter circle. And we see McBeth helping out his teammate, retrieving the errant drive. Just a little layup action. Does he make the good drive not rewarded? McBeth outreach to his left. Tough to tell if he's inside the circle or not. And he holds his balance. That makes me think he definitely was inside of it. I guess we could count those steps, but who's got time for counting? Looked like he was just inside the circle, though. So solid putt. He goes to 4 under through the first 7. With the penalty, Ryan will take the bogey. And we're going to see a pair of pars by Alex and William. They're going to move over to hole number 8, which is all about a placement shot on the par 4. Big shout out. Dylan, who is on the catch cam, is also Mr. Pastry Dies. I'm sure some of you guys have seen some of the incredible work that he does. You can find pastrydies.com. So this is all about placement on this hole. You're really just trying to stay clean off the tee to put yourself in position for the second shot. It's only 455. And McBeth with a pretty fortunate kick there. You need to turn this over. You need to miss all of those trees, turn it over, and then push toward the OB creek that we actually just saw on the previous hole. And that will set yourself up to throw across the creek and then uphill to a sloped green. And that little forehand touch shot is very popular way to do it. And you can see he's safe. A little low there for Ryan. So although low, he did not push too close to the water, so you'll have some work to do. He's got a good angle. Of course, here in the train and the entire train theme that takes place here at the Huk Central, the Grand Central Station disc golf course. And the turnover, that just had too much angle on it from McBeth. Had that come in flat, I think that would have skipped up right next to the pin. Something like that. Perfect shot by Alex. And you're wondering, well, why in the world, if we're in the northwest corner, otherwise kind of in the upstate area of of South Carolina, why is it called Central? Because it's nowhere near central South Carolina in terms of the geographic placement of the overall city or town and state. Well, it is the halfway point between Atlanta and Charlotte. So it was called the Central when talking about the railroad. So halfway point between Atlanta and Charlotte. So there's a little tidbit you can trick all your friends with when they're wondering about Central South Carolina. Right after a conversation about collectible buzzes and firebirds, it usually goes to geography. I understand. Wow. And the lunging uphill putt for McBeth. See a little bit of the wind picking up. he's all smiles. Hole 8 averages 3.83 in this opening round. Sit down. And then you also see there the other numbers. That is, of course, for when playing the other layout, the locomotive layout. As I said, here on Saturday, we're playing the freight line layout. So when playing tomorrow, this hole would be considered hole number 17. Easy tap in for Alex. Nice work. All right, guys, we're already coming up on hole 9. Did I get all the shout-outs in there? Big shout-out, I can't say it enough, to Dustin and Dylan, my 2 cameramen. And then also, of course, to Ish over at Down South Disc. If you're looking to pick up some discs in that area or playing some tournaments, he's running one just about every weekend. How he's not running this one or running one on this given weekend, I don't know. But he's doing the merch payout, and huge help. So here we are, rounding out our front 9. McBeth, 5 down through 8. And I don't think you can argue with that. Little putter shot. Alex says I can pretty much match that. So leave it in the comments, guys. I'd like to know, how much golf have you played in South Carolina? Obviously, this is a great place to come play. Let me know what course you've played. I've played a number of them throughout the years. This seems like a great place to stop and play some golf. Right near Clemson University. I'm sure that'll start a fight. Go Tigers or something. I don't know. They don't sponsor me. But I'd like to know, what kind of golf have you seen or played or been part of in South Carolina? Leave that in the comments. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And then I'll have to find some stuff to give away. I just got a fresh new order of disc golf guy stuff. So that's probably what will be up for grabs. I mean, really all you have to do is leave a comment. All right, let's see how we can close out this front 9. We've got bonus coverage coming. Oh, sweet. Great birdie. We were contracted to just do 4 rounds. We ended up capturing 6 total rounds of golf. A couple of them are just with single camera, but I guarantee you're going to love it. Okay, I can't promise that. I think you will. Oh, just a bit off. Feel like Alex has been all over trying to punish the chains. McBeth, solid open. He's 6 down through 9. Course record is a 44. That was shot a few years ago by Chris Dickerson. Did I say Chris record? Course record? Either way. Guys, we're going to start to close it out. Again, huge shout out to all the sponsors you've been seeing. We've got the back 9 coming up. Yeah, it's just me, but tons of disc golf. This PDGA A tier, the Huk Central, presented by Wesleyan University, Southern Wesleyan University. We'll see you in the back 9.